Well, we have some fun things to talk about today, but first, quick update on the stepdad. He called me this morning. He was very excited because the New York Knicks won last night. Now, if you watched Game and Talk podcast with Celia and I, it quickly derailed into her yelling about Banjo Tooie and me yelling about the Knicks, but it was a fun time. But yes, the Knicks won. He is starting to feel better. Hopefully next week he'll get into a rehab facility where he could start doing physical therapy and speech work and stuff like that. But he's definitely sounding a lot better than he has previously. So thank you guys for all your well wishes, your thoughts, and your prayers. Keep them coming. He appreciates it, and I appreciate it for him. But we actually have a second video today on the channel. Make sure you check out the first one from earlier because I feel like these are all kind of interconnected. Because if you haven't heard the news, which I'm sure you have, Grand Theft Auto 6 has indeed been delayed. Surprise, surprise. RGT tried to tell you about this a long time ago. When I heard fall 2025, what did I say? I said there's no way. There is no way that Grand Theft Auto 6 is coming out in fall of 2025, considering we haven't really seen much of anything from this game besides an initial trailer that was, not really gameplay. It was mostly in-game engine stuff, trying to set the stage, set the world for where you're going to be in. So, of course, because of this, there's been lots of conspiracy theories running around as to why the game has been delayed. But first, let's take a look at the delay itself. This is coming to us from Rockstar. Grand Theft Auto 6 is now set to release on May 26, 2026. So we went from fall of 2025 to May of 2026, the end of May. So really almost the start of summer. But why is that the case? It's now set to release on May 26, 2026. We're sorry that this is later than you expected. What are you talking about? I expected the game in fall because you told me. Look at me. Look at me. Later than I expected. No, you told me it was fall 2025. More importantly, you told your shareholders, which I called BS on because you could always walk it back if you had to. And you are the one who put out that expectation. This is not an expectation that has been riled up inside of us. Like, this is your fault. This is your issue, not the consumer's issue. Anyways, I'm sure they'll use the good old, they'll go to their comfort blanket with world economic conditions and tariffs, right? The interest and excitement surrounding a new Grand Theft Auto has been truly humbling for our entire team. We want to thank you for your support and your patience as we work to finish the game. With every game we have released, the goal has been to try and exceed your expectations, and Grand Theft Auto 6 is no exception. We hope you understand that we need this extra time to deliver at the level of quality you expect and deserve. We look forward to sharing more information with you soon. So this is obviously something that it didn't just come about. I feel like this has been planned. You have to stop trusting these video game companies, people. You have to. Just like when Phil Spencer said it was only 4 games, and then, months later, that whole thing changed. You have to stop trusting these video game companies. I think fall of 2025 was probably an internal goal set like 3 years ago. And then probably in 2024, they realized, hey, we're not going to meet this deadline. We need extra time and stuff like that. And when you kind of think about, what Grand Theft Auto essentially has become, it's been a very long time since a new one. And, you could get into all of the issues about how game development has gotten too big and stuff like that. But like, bro, you got so many games on PlayStation 2 in the Grand Theft Auto franchise. And that's not even including the side option games that released on other platforms like PSP and DS, and then ended up coming over to the PlayStation 2. On the PS3, you at least had 2 Grand Theft Auto games with Grand Theft Auto 4 and Grand Theft Auto 5. The PS3 era is the last time we got a new Grand Theft Auto game. And I understand building up a game and building up a world, but you have to have some sort of limitations on it if you want it to come out in a timely manner. This is terrible for the video game industry because this game was supposed to save the video game industry. Remember, we don't want to launch near Grand Theft Auto 6 because that's going to be like the biggest selling game of all time. So now the video game industry has another stake in its heart because of these huge, lofty expectations that companies themselves are putting upon themselves, instead of just trying to, create an engine and then use that engine as far as it can go. And, do things within that. Like Grand Theft Auto 3 and Vice City. obviously the same engine. Like, not a whole lot changed. They just built upon it. And then San Andreas was, of course, an even bigger expansion of that, but also with the graphics and stuff like that. And I just feel like games have gotten just too big. Like, they've gotten too big to the point of where you can't even make a game in a timely manner anymore. But, of course, the conspiracy theorists are out there now, because now they're looking at this, and they're looking at this steep delay, because it is a steep delay. And they're thinking, well, what's the reasoning behind it? Is it just because they need more time to work on the game? And really, there are two culprits that keep popping up within these conversations. Those being the Nintendo Switch 2 and those being the PC. Lots of people are starting to feel like this may launch day and date on PC and Nintendo Switch 2 alongside of the other versions of the game on PlayStation and Xbox in order to capitalize on sales. Because you say whatever you want about Xbox. I am a fan of Xbox, even though I have to talk negatively about them sometimes because I'm a realistic person. But is that going to drive Xbox console sales? Are people going to buy an Xbox console to play Grand Theft Auto 6? How is it going to sell on the Xbox console? It'll sell great on PlayStation, but really people are spending less on games than normal because of the, situations right now we have with people, trying to just afford bills and stuff like that. Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be an expensive game. Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to hit that $100 price point for the standard edition. I'm pretty sure of that. So when you factor in putting this game on as many platforms as you can, I do think PC makes a bit of sense. Steam is very successful. If you have a PC, you are probably getting your games on Steam. So that seems like a potentially viable option. And then you have the wild card, that of course being the Nintendo Switch 2. And many people think, well, this is it. This means that Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to come to the Switch 2, and I don't think that's the case. I'm not saying that the game is never going to come to the Switch 2. I'm not saying that at all. Is this delay because they want to put the game on the Switch 2? No. I honestly don't think that is the case, because when you look at the architecture of the Switch 2, this is something you have to put a lot of time and effort into in order to optimize it for the system. Something like the PC would be a lot easier to put the game on, comparative to the PlayStation and Xbox architecture than you would do with the Nintendo Switch 2. But the bigger issue is just the size and scope of what this game is going to be. And I know you're going to say, oh, well, they're running it on the Xbox Series S. There's really no reason. Pretty much a lot of people are getting in the mindset where if a game is on the Xbox Series S, it should be on the Switch 2, because we're seeing some Switch 2 games look and run better than the Xbox Series S versions of these games like Street Fighter 6. And, if that's the case, companies should be putting their games on it. But the scalability is kind of a major portion of that, because the companies are not designing the game with the Series S in mind. They're designing the game with the Series X in mind and then dumbing it down for the Series S. Essentially, what's the word I'm looking for here? There's a word. You customize. You customize it like on the PC. If you have a weaker PC, you can run the games at lower resolution, have less stuff on there. It's not as well optimized for it. They just kind of hone in some settings to make the game look and run better on the Series S as best as they can. So I don't think this delay has anything to do with the Nintendo Switch 2. And I think it's pretty silly to think something like that. That's not to say that the game will never come to the Switch 2, because I do think it will. I think, I honestly feel like, and I might be wrong on this, and so, I'll preface this, but I almost feel like this game might not sell like as crazy as people are thinking, especially with the way consoles are right now. Let's say it doesn't come out on PC day and date. Let's just say it releases on PlayStation and it releases on Xbox. There's roughly 100 million plus systems out there combined between those two. And we know that games aren't really selling all that great on Xbox because, they make up about 30% of that 100 million that's in there, because there's about 30 million sold. And when you look at games on PlayStation and you look at the sales of games on PlayStation, like, as far as I can tell, and as far as, the data that I have, Spider-Man 2 is the highest selling PS5 game, according to Wikipedia at least, but that's at 11 million copies. And that was an exclusive game, a big groundbreaking game. And I'm just not sure, when you look at people's spending habits when Spider-Man 2 came out versus what they're going to be in 2026, there's a lot of volatility. There's a lot of uncertainty with this as well. I think it's going to be very interesting. I think this might be, I really think this is going to be eye-opening for the video game industry, because if this game doesn't sell like, 20 mil, like I honestly think like 20 mil in like the first month, like there's going to be a lot of conversations had about the death of the industry. And May 26, 2026 is over a year away. There is a lot of things that can happen between then and now. There's a lot of things that have already happened in 2025. What do you think is going to happen in the rest of the year? I'm just saying. But let me know in the comment section down below. How are you feeling about this? Do you think that it is just to finish and polish the game? Do you think they ever intended on releasing it in 2025? Because I don't. Do you think that they are delaying this to put it on the PC or Nintendo Switch 2? I mean, I guess there's always a chance, but I think PC makes a lot more sense than Switch 2 does, especially considering that a Switch 2 hasn't come out yet, and you got to kind of see, how the system is going to sell beyond just the initial rush of the Nintendo diehard fans. Let me know what you think of it in the comments section. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like, comment, and share. Go Knicks! Made it to the second round. I hate Boston. It's going to be a terrible series for us, probably, but you got to have hope. You got to have faith. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.